Sometimes the changes needed for a rookie design to be more professional are really small, but they result in a huge difference where the designs don't end up looking like rookie templates. For example, on the screen right now, feast your eyes on this social media graphic design. Now, if you're scrolling on, say, Instagram or X, and you saw this design, as a graphic designer, what would your initial thoughts be? Technically, it's not a terrible design, right? I mean, the thing is, it is actually an entry-level rookie design, and here's why. When you or any designer embark on creating social media graphics for a client project, you have to be aware of what this thing actually is. A social media graphic is a tool to get engagement and clicks for a brand or a social media account. And on this design, there are no clear CTAs or hashtags that smack you right in the face. Sure, there is a website displayed at the bottom, but these days for social media designs, this isn't going to cut it, and it doesn't stand out nearly enough. Also, social media designs need to be really easily legible at a quick glance. Having typography that stretches up the side like this simply isn't a wise design choice. Another downfall for social media designs is when they're simply just too generic, like this camping promotion piece right here. These days, where me, you, the graphic designer fresh out of college, or even a client has access to templates and AI, using these types of designs isn't going to stand out and look professional for any brand or business online. Making something that looks generic will be okay for those clients who are very low down on the ladder, the ones who pay you as a designer very little. But to create fully designs, we need to take things to that next level. Now, I chose these social media posts to explain the professional attributes of a design because most people won't be able to understand the language here, including myself. And that means we're going to look at design's function more so rather than what the text reads. And one thing that the generic and rookie designs fail to do is to create a visual language that respects the brand identity. Now, on these more professional designs, look how the color scheme, the typography choices, the layouts, the imagery and so on totally follow in trend with each other. It's a very strong identity, which ultimately is a hallmark of professionalism. Also, notice how the designer has used things like Home Alone imagery to really get away from a generic and boring design. Think back to that camping design we saw earlier. They simply used imagery or boring pictures of tents, and that was in a boring generic layout style. Zooming back to the pro designs here, we have really interesting concepts like Kevin McAllister from Home Alone, or like how the white graphic on this design stretches over the woman in a more daring and more unique layout. The CTAs also stand out on these designs because they often have the bright pink logo next to them, or they're enclosed in a bold blue rectangle, and they're often displayed in bright white bold text against colourful backgrounds. Now, it does take time, it does take experience to step out of that generic box as a graphic designer, but that's why you're here. You're here to learn some more skills and to expand your creativity, of course. And here is the next design we're looking at. And really, no offense to the designer of these business cards. I'm sure they're doing really well selling them as templates, but they are considered to be more rookie level types of design. And let's inspect exactly why. The first thing is actually something you might have already spotted, and it's linked directly back from what we just discussed earlier, that is being too generic. Yes, this is a template, and that's precisely my point here. Template designs, or just designs that look like templates, lack personality. They lack originality, and they lack that special something which today's designs need more than ever. Especially when we're talking about business card designs, because it needs to be personal to a brand. Yes, there is a market for those template style designs, but we want higher paying clients, and higher paying clients don't want this kind of work. Back on this design, I don't like the bright lime green because it kind of gets lost on that white background, and the information is very generic and unforgettable as well. Without thinking too much about what I'm going to say next, and just going by your initial reaction, look again at this generic card and feel into what your reaction would be if someone gave it to you at a party, an event, or a business meeting. What would your initial reaction or feeling be? Keep that in mind when we now take a look at the first professional business card. how would you react if someone handed you this card? To me, this looks more original, more unique, clean, and of course, professional. It's not overly complicated or trying to be something it's not. It's a refined and lovely design. The information is easy to obtain, and the front cover looks bold and memorable. Also, you gotta love that purple matched up with the orange. Nice. Also, part of being professional in your design projects is thinking of concepts that make people smile or which are clever. And this is often what separates rookies from the pros as a graphic designer. And we can actually see that on this burger business card design. The text and the typography have been created from ketchup. And if you notice on the front cover, the logo could have easily been put in frame fully, but the designer has bled it over the edges so it's only partially seen. This is a great move that makes the design look more dynamic and more original. And so the main takeaway here is to be original, get creative, and stay away from generic template style designs. That is if you want to excel to that more pro level. Okay, cool, I hear you. These examples so far are not the same design evolved over time. True, yes, but now I'm going to evolve a single design in the way we've been looking at in today's video. This is a brochure design and yep, it looks a lot like a template, or at least has that generic style. The imagery is encapsulated in those shape style layouts, and the typography and the layout choices also look generic too. I'm going to really try and be creative here and make something that wouldn't fall into the category of generic template designs. So here's the artboard for the template, and it's actually fairly small. Well, I'd say it's typical for a trifold brochure. Anyway, I didn't have much time to do this, so I kind of rushed it a bit, but let's see what I managed to come up with. So to begin, I went for a very irregular layout across the 3 sections. I didn't want to be so conventional here, and I did play around with transparency modes later with these color blocks, and we'll soon see that. It doesn't look like much yet, I know, but hopefully you'll agree that it all ties together in the end. Okay, next it was time for some typography, and because this is a template, I did keep the lorem ipsum placeholder text that the template used. Now I had a good idea to make use of the brand logo section here, which you'll soon see. But moving on, I added something that I thought would make quite a big difference. I placed these black bars, but not all on the same side. This ties the design together, but it also adds more of that irregularity at the same time. Next, I addressed one of the CTAs here, and I made sure it stood out better than the previous version, where it was just kind of a standard white text. Now this is the penultimate design, and I've added 2 icons that relate back to the concept of the brochure, and that is travel. So we have a plane and then a passport. These icons also help the typography as well, and often pairing things up like this just simply looks good. And then finally, to tie up the design, a traveling person here pointing to the brand, and I could have also just had them point to the title, but this works too. And then ET phoning home for the contact section, which I thought was quite a unique touch. This is a trifold brochure, so the contact page would be the back and the yellow would be the front cover. And on this mock-up, I know it's one brochure, but I just wanted to show the contrast between the 2 designs. So if you found today's video useful, drop a like on the video itself, and of course, until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.